Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we're going to do the camera review of the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M1. So ASUS has launched this new device in the sub 15K price segment, and this also comes with a dual camera setup. So dual cameras has been a trend of late, and almost all smartphones have been coming with dual cameras. So the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro also comes with a dual camera. And regarding the other specifications, the Zenfone Max Pro M1 comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 636 octa-core chipset. It is coupled with either 4 or 3 GB RAM, and it also has a 6-inch Full HD Plus resolution display. Now moving to the camera aspect. So in this video we'll talk about how good the camera experience is, and the camera interface, and also the camera samples we have taken with this device. So let's get started. So first up, let's have a look at the camera aspect of this device. So this device comes with a 13 megapixel primary camera on the rear panel, and it is f-stop 2.2 aperture, and also it has a secondary 5 megapixel camera for depth sensing along with an LED flash included. So that's the camera aspect on the rear panel. Now talking about the front camera, it has an 8 megapixel shooter along with f-stop 2.2 aperture and a soft LED flash also included for low light selfies. So that's the front facing camera on the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M1. So unlike other Zenphones launched in India by ASUS, this device does not come with a Zen UI, and it has stock Android. And instead of having the Zenfone's Zen UI camera, we have a Snapdragon camera included by the company. So this is the basic interface provided by the Snapdragon camera. Although ASUS will be calling it as a camera, it will not be called as the Snapdragon camera, but the interface is more or less like the Snapdragon camera. We have the settings here, so we can see that it comes with almost all features and options included, but there is no professional mode included. And if you swipe from the bottom, you can see different modes included: HDR portrait mode, then flowers, backlight mode, candle, and a lot of modes are included. And there is also the depth enable mode, or you can see that the depth effect is included with the dual camera, so that also is included. And we also have this beauty mode included. So these are the options, and if you swipe here, you can see that the option to record videos. And if you go to the video recording mode, we have this video recording at 4K resolution, Full HD, and 720p is included. ASUS has promised EIS support for the 1080p resolution at 30 fps, but that update has not come in right now. So we'll revisit the camera once the camera has been updated with EIS and other features. So that's pending from ASUS as of now. Now looking at the other options, you can see there is an option to view the camera, and the shutter button is quite fast and responsive, but it takes a second to save the images once you've taken the capture. So now let's have a look at the daylight captures taken with the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M1. So these are the daylight captures taken with this device, and it looks quite good. The color reproduction is pretty good, and it's punchier colors, and the details are also pretty good, and the overall experience of the daylight captures looks really good. And we would say that it definitely is a good camera in this condition, and it is definitely a competitor to the Xiaomi's Redmi Note 5 Pro, and the dual camera does a pretty good job here. And the overall clarity of the daylight shots looks really good. The dynamic range of the images also looks pretty good. So overall, in daylight conditions, the 13 megapixel camera performed pretty well, and overall clarity of the images looks really good. So that's the daylight captures. Now looking at the close-up images. So here again the details are pretty much evident in the photos. The colors are pretty much vibrant, and the details are also pronounced, and overall the clarity of the images looks really good. So both in the daylight conditions and also in close-up images, the overall clarity looks pretty good. The focusing speed is also pretty good, and we don't have anything to complain in that aspect. So overall the daylight captures looked really good. Now let's have a look at the portrait samples we have taken. So this device comes with a secondary 5 megapixel camera for depth sensing, and it does a pretty good job with edge detection. Although there is no option to control the aperture value like the Honor devices or the Huawei devices, the bokehs are quite acceptable for a phone in this price segment, and it does a pretty good job overall. Now finally talking about the rear camera low light performance. So looking at the low light captures taken with this device, so this is an area where ASUS needs to improve a lot, because considering how good the rear camera performance was in the daylight condition, the low light camera performance was kind of pretty much average. You can see that the details are washed out, and there is a lot of noise creeping in, even in conditions where there is a lot of plenty of artificial light. Even then the low light captures did have a lot of noise, and if you zoom in, you can see that the details are pretty much lost in low light conditions. So ASUS needs to work a bit on the low light performance of the Zenfone Max Pro M1, and ASUS has promised that the one area where they will be continuously working on will be the camera department. So that was the low light performance of the Zenfone Max Pro M1. Now next step, let's have a look at the rear camera performance in video recording. So there is 4K resolution support, and the full HD video recording is also included, and ASUS is promising EIS support in coming days. So electronic image stabilization will be included in future updates. So we'll revisit the camera once the electronic image stabilization is updated, and as of now the camera quality looks quite okay. It is a bit shaky because of lack of EIS, but the color reproduction was quite good, and it is a bit slightly over sharpened video, but nevertheless it does a decent job altogether. Now finally, looking at the selfie performance. So the selfie is one of the disappointing aspects of this device, and the selfie performance looked pretty much average, and you can see that the selfie camera was not that great in terms of the color reproduction. It was kind of dull images and lacked detail, and also the colors looked a lot washed out, and not the best experience, because in 2018 a lot of users will be looking at the selfie aspect of the smartphones, and providing just an 8 megapixel camera was not a great move by ASUS in this price segment. But they can definitely improve this camera performance with future updates, and there is also bokeh mode in the selfies, which was kind of average, and the edge detection was not that great compared to the rear camera performance. So that was the selfie aspect of the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M1. So this is a video recording taken using the front facing camera on the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M1. So this is an 8 megapixel shooter capable of recording videos in 1080p resolution. So you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the video is, and the audio output from the video using this front facing camera on the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M1. So how good is the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M1 camera in this price segment? So ASUS has done a quite good job with the rear camera performance, especially in daylight conditions, good color reproduction, good detailing, and the close-up images also looked really good. And the portrait samples also had a good control over the edge detection. But where the Zenfone Max Pro camera slightly disappoints is the low light performance, which should be improved in future updates. And also the selfie performance was kind of average, especially for a phone launched in 2018. A lot of users might be looking at a better selfie experience. So two areas where ASUS needs to work on is the low light performance and also the selfie experience of the Zenfone Max Pro M1. The video recording is quite good, but ASUS is promising EIS support on this device, so that should be coming up later. So as of now the camera looks quite okay, but we will have a detailed camera review later, say after a month of usage, and at that time we'll have a lot more updates coming up for this device, so including the EIS support. So we'll revisit the camera once that updates have come in. So as of now the camera looks definitely promising, but a lot of work needs to be done on the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M1. So that's it for this video. This is Nirmal signing off. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.